So I feel kind of dumb asking this question, but like, did Drew Brees retire and we didn't hear about it? Or are you waiting for Drew Brees to retire? Do you want to tell us now that Drew Brees is retiring? Are you still waiting to find out what Drew Brees is going to do for 2021?
Yeah, look, I think that's coming in the next week or two. And last season, there was a lot of time spent. He spent a lot of time. There's a wear and tear in these type of years, especially at that position. But I think that's something that within the next week and a half, that he's going to address and announce. Meanwhile, we're meeting most teams right at the end of the season. You meet on your own roster, and you spend a good portion of a week going through each player, talking about the season, where they're at, where they're going. We've gone through the quarterbacks. Of course, we've read all of those players. Taysom Hill, who's in the building, Jameis, who's now a free agent that we hope to sign here sooner than later. We've got a pretty good vision with those players. But I think within the next week, we'll know a little bit more.
Right. And hey, it's fair because you know what? It's not, we expect you guys to have answers 15 seconds after the season ends. And that's not sort of how it is, because there's this weird finality to an NFL season for you guys, win or lose. I mean, like all of a sudden the clock is at zero and all this hard work leading up to it, especially in this COVID year, comes to a close. I mean, are you guys have been so freaking close the last couple of years. Does that, I mean, it seems like you guys have done a good job rallying the troops. How is it motivational to get that close? Is it tough to keep everybody moving forward in this direction?
Look, to begin with, you hit on a point different than the other sports leagues. It's not a best of 5, a best of 7. If you're trying to draw a comparison, maybe it's the NC2A tournament, because you have an itinerary for the next week. You have meeting schedules for the next week. You have all these things. You filled out the Super Bowl. Once you get to the divisional round, you get the Super Bowl forms you have to fill out, when you're the home team. And so you're teased with that, and yet you're playing sudden death each weekend. And so you can play a game on Sunday and be back Monday, here we go, game plan, or be having a team meeting with exit physicals. So it is that dramatic. And when you consider it's a 3-hour game, it can come down to a handful of plays. Man, I love the locker room. I love the culture we built. I think we're built to last. We've got a good young nucleus of players. But no, there is that adjustment that everyone in their own way deals with. And that first week you're kind of numb and then slowly you transition back. But we've learned this and we know this, that when you begin again next year, there's never that, hey, we're picking up from where we left off. We always look at it like, hey, we're starting from square one. And we've got seasoned veterans that understand the work involved, understand, hey, it's difficult to win 13 games, difficult to win your division, 4 years in a row. And they don't take any of that for granted. And so they like to work. They appreciate the grind, if you will. And we do as coaches, our jobs are to help get them better. So there is that turnaround challenge time. This is always the hardest week because this is the week where you're just jealous. Like you're just jealous. You know what I mean? And shoot, Andy and Bruce, I know these guys and the players on these teams. Obviously, one of the teams is a divisional opponent. But anyone that tells you any differently, at least that's the way I feel this weekend. You just, man, it's like your two good friends are somewhere that you want to be, and you're just mad that you're not there.
You got some major FOMO happening, man. It's the worst. You fear of missing out. What if you could, as an offensive guy, sort of reverse engineer this, what would you do to slow down Patrick Mahomes? If you're working with Dennis Allen, you're saying like, we got to figure out something to do. You're on the opposite side of that. Is there any way to do that? Is it with the 2 tackles out for KC, can the Bucs generate enough? Do you just have to rush forward and hope the back can hold
listen, that's a salty front.
Yeah.
And I would say here's what we know, at least historically. Kansas City, when you're that good offensively, you have to be able to deal with the chief plan of the week. So you might look at game film on the last opponent and scout all their games and plan on, hey, this is what they play. But when you have one of these elite level offenses, all of a sudden you might get like a completely different look because you're that good. And so, I think Andy and his staff do a good job of adjusting. They've played teams, I think Buffalo, which was going to be in a little bit more split safety, kind of patient look. I think typically speaking, not all the time, but Todd and Tampa Bay do a good job of really of crunching the front. It's a hard team to run the football against. They are a good pass rush team, and they've got some pressure players at linebacker as well.
Sure.
If they want to pressure you. So, I think you're going to see not a conservative approach. I don't think defensively. I don't. Now they'll make some changes from the last time they played, but that game was a little closer when you really watch the entirety of it. That game was a little closer than it might appear. So I think you're gonna pay attention to how long does Patrick Mahomes have. He does a great job of one thing, though, is he can escape for width and depth. And when you do that, width is one thing, but as he buys time either way for width and depth, he gets another 2 seconds, and he's got the arm talent then to throw what was supposed to be a 12-yard completion. It's going to be a 15-yard completion that gains 12 yards, and you got to run after the catch. Look, there's a number of weapons there. Ultimately, when you're playing this team, you're looking at playing real good red zone defense. And so what's the perfect game when it ends is you've given up some yards, you've given up some big plays, you've stayed on top, though, and you force more field goals. Because they've been a decent red zone offense, but not a very good red zone offense. So, how do you force them to kick field goals? I think that's a big thing. And then, I think that as a coach, we played one of the teams 3 times and the other team once this year. I think Tampa's dangerous because history's told us when one of these teams wins 3 away games and gets to this game, there's a confidence that comes with that. They've gone on the road at Washington, on the road in New Orleans, on the road at Green Bay. Every 5 or 6 years we see one of those teams do that, whether it's been Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Yep.
And there's a little grit that takes place with that because it's hard to do.
All right, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Speaking of games, let's get to a quick game. We'll do this very quickly. We're gonna start with this is NFL Picture This. So we'll start with, you can see there's a small dog. This is a recent NFL offseason moment.
So NFL offseason moment.
Yes. It's a famous dog, famous NFL dog.
All right. Famous NFL dog. I'm looking at that like, I don't know that there is a famous NFL dog, but I'm giving him whatever he wants right here. My hands are in the air. You got me.
We'll forgive you for this one because you were probably busy. But let's zoom it out. This is Bill Belichick's dog selecting.
In the draft, yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, to the next photo. This is a famous recent Super Bowl moment.
Famous recent Super Bowl moment. Man, I'm going to say, when you say recent, give me what, 3 years?
Yes, within the last 3 years.
In the last 3 years.
I'll give you a hint. Those hands catching the football are not your typical wide receiver hands.
Yep. So I'm going to recent Super Bowl. You got me.
That is Philly with Nick Foles reeling in a touchdown. The catch.
That's outstanding. I should have known with the single glove.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Next up, very quickly. Oh yeah. All right. This is also a recent Super Bowl moment.
This is going to be the Patriots coming back to beat the Falcons, right?
That's right. 28-3.
Why does the Saint fan get that right away? All the other ones, you put that up there, and I said I'll take the Patriots for 500.
You know that your tweet, the 28-3 tweet, is legendary amongst the NFL media, right?
Yeah, look, we were having some fun. It was COVID, and we're all kind of quarantined, and this guy was giving me a hard time, and then he wanted me to go watch some more films, and so I did, and I put the recommendations down, and then it ended up being.
No, it's incredible. It's great work. All right, we're blitzing through these. Let's see. Oh, they went straight to the final one. So you can. This is okay. We skipped the Saints one, but apparently we're being told we're running out of time. So this one is, you might find this company, the mascot for this company in the Safari.
Yeah. So this is going to be Zebra.
Yes,
and there are barcode. That's the company that does all our barcoding in the stores, and they work with us in the NFL, and they're the ones that give us the next gen stats that we always hear about. I don't know that many people know that basically all our players have chips in their shoulder pads, and we measure everything from time they're on the practice field to how fast they run to, and I think it's going to carry over into officiating as well. Did the ball cross the goal line yet? It has to, because there's a lot of nebulous measurements that we have that I think we'll be able to get more and more accurately, and I think it will assist the officials.
Awesome stuff. Make sure and understand that Zebra technology. This is what we you as a competition committee guy. We want these officials doing the best work they possibly can out there. And we had a picture of the onside kick from 2009 that we're going to throw up there if we had time, but we ran out. Also, the Reggie Bush presser was going to be in there. And out of respect for you, there were a couple other moments from Saints history that we declined to use. But Joe Horn's cell phone. We were going to mix in there.
Yeah.
But we ran out of time.
More importantly, you put the Falcons score up there, and that any Saints fan would want to see that first.
That's right. Hey, Sean, really appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much. Enjoy the week. Looking forward to see what you guys do this offseason and in 2021, man.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.